My name is Maud Powell, and I'm an instructor in the Small Farms program. I'm based in Jackson County, so I'm an area extension agent down there. So I work with small farmers and commercial growers, beginning farmers, and small acreage landowners. I teach classes in all those areas, pretty diverse range of topics, and then I consult individually with farmers and landowners. I'm an instructor for Oregon State University's Small Farms program. I'm an instructor in the Oregon State University Extension Small Farms program, and I'm an area extension agent in Jackson County, Oregon. My husband and I own and operate a small organic farm. We've been farming for about 15 years, and we grow organic vegetables that we sell through a community-supported agriculture program, and we also grow organic seed crops that we sell on contract to several seed companies around the country. We have about 10 acres under management. Some of that's in perennial vegetables, some is in hedgerows, and then we have about 3 acres that are certified annual production. My husband and I interned on 3 different farms before we bought our own property, so we've been farming about 17 years. I coordinate and teach for the Small Farms, the Growing Farms program in Southern Oregon, and I help to write the original curriculum. Well, I would say it's really important to be flexible because things change all the time. People talk a lot about sustainable agriculture, but I like the term evolutionary agriculture because you don't actually want to sustain, you want to be constantly evolving. And so that's going to be evolving based on what your markets do, based on your land, based on the weather changes. So I would say remaining really flexible and open would be important.
So my name is Kristen Poole, and currently I am a graduate student at OSU working with the Small Farms program. My graduate research assistantship is working on the Growing Farms project and helping transition it to the online format. In 2008, I started working for the Small Farms program before I had gone back to school, and I was a research assistant in the North Willamette Valley of Oregon, working in both research and education. And with the Growing Farms program, I administered the grants and led the classes up in the Portland area, and also helped develop the curriculum. So I grew up in a rural ranching community in California, so I've always been connected to agriculture in that way. And then I was studying sustainable ag in my undergrad, and when I graduated, I interned at 47th Avenue Farm in Portland, Oregon. And in working on that farm, I got connected with the Small Farms program. And when I finished working on the farm, I started working for the program. I think that this is a really exciting time to be a beginning farmer and to be in the agriculture field in general. There's so much work in Oregon and around the nation in local food systems and sustainable ag. And I think any beginning farmer should just put their dreams out there and talk to as many people as possible, because there's a lot of interest in this topic and different ways to get assistance. Both for 47th Avenue Farm and for the Small Farms program up in the Portland area is really exciting because of the amount of urban agriculture and local food happening in that area. 47th Avenue Farm, it was one of the first urban farms up there, one of the beginning ones, but there is just an explosion of young folks and just beginning farmers in general in that area. There's a lot of networking possibilities because of that, and just there's various cities throughout the nation that are doing so much more work with urban and local food, and Portland is really a hot spot for that, so it's exciting.
My name is Nick Andrews, and I'm the Metro Area Small Farms Extension Agent, and I specialize in horticultural crops. Most of the work I do, the technical work I do, is related to organic vegetable production, but I also serve small-scale berry growers and orchardists. And then we do quite a lot of beginning farmer training as well. We have the Growing Farms program, of course. We also put together Small Farms School in collaboration with Clackamas Community College, which is in September every year, and that's a neat one-day conference that has a mixture of classroom workshops and hands-on workshops. Some of the more technical work that we do up in the metro area is related specifically to vegetable production. We've done a lot of work with helping growers incorporate cover crops into their crop rotations and helping growers figure out how much nitrogen they're getting from their cover crops. So if they get a good legume stand in the spring and they incorporate that, they don't have to apply as much nitrogen fertilizer. And the question always is, how much less nitrogen fertilizer? So we've been trying to answer that. And we've been trying to answer that question, and we've developed the OSU Organic Fertilizer and Cover Crop Calculator in collaboration with Dan Sullivan, who's the state soils extension specialist. A new project that we've got is called Crop Time, and we're working with vegetable growers to develop degree day models to help them schedule planting and harvest dates. And we're developing a website that will link automatically to automatic weather stations, and growers will then be able to use degree days instead of calendar days to maturity to schedule their activities during the season. Professional experience in agriculture has been with OSU Extension, with the Extension Service in England, which was privatized when I was there. And also I worked as an independent scout or crop consultant in tree fruits up in Hood River. And I worked as an organic farm inspector with Oregon Tilth, based out of Salem. And when I was at Tilth, I got to visit organic farms all over Oregon, Washington, and the western states, and got pretty familiar with lots of organic growers and what they were doing. And then recently, in 2009, I bought a small walnut orchard in Canby, and we've got about 2 acres of walnuts that we manage organically. We're not certified yet, but we're hoping to kind of grow into that at some point. So what I've learned at work helps me a lot with what I'm doing at home, but I'm still very much a beginning farmer at home. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I first got involved with growing farms in 2008, I think, when we took the program that was started in Southern Oregon, and we took it statewide and started offering it at several different locations. And we've been offering growing farms almost every year since then at the North Willamette Research and Extension Center in Aurora, up near Portland. And I've been one of the core instructors and coordinators of that course with Kristen Poole, who worked with me for a few years, and now Heidi Nordyke, who works with me. And in that, as we've taught the course over the last few years, we've refined what our educational objectives are and how we go about organizing the content so that it makes sense and so that it flows well for growers. And we're really lucky in the Portland area because there's a lot of people there that are interested in small scale farming. So there's a big potential audience, and there's also a lot of very experienced and very talented farmers. So we always have at every session we have an extension agent or some kind of agricultural professional giving part of the talk, and then experienced farmers talking about how they implement that information on their farms.
I'm Heidi Nordyke. I'm an education program assistant for the Small Farms program up in the North Willamette Valley. And as part of my job, I do education, beginning farmer education with the Growing Farms program, and then we also offer different workshops throughout the year. And we have a big small farm school, which is a one-day event for beginning farmers, small acreage landowners, where they have opportunities to do hands-on workshops. And we have an acres, a compost workshop, and then we also have research projects where we're working with small farmers and then also some larger farmers on nutrient management and a degree day project, so looking at growth stages and temperature in those relationships. Okay, so when I was a freshman in college, I was going to a small school in Indiana, and at Thanksgiving, the Saturday morning of Thanksgiving, I woke up and I was like, turned over to my sister. We were sleeping in my aunt's bedroom, and I said, I want to study horticulture. And I have no idea where that came from, and so I was telling my parents, and they said, well, you know, why don't you go out? My cousin and her husband have an orchard in the Hudson Valley of New York, and they said, well, why don't you go there for the summer, see if you like that. And I worked there and I fell in love with fruit and like being at the market and selling people fruit, to just be like, oh, would you like a slice of this? And they're like, oh, this is the best peach I've ever had in my life. And that made me very happy. And I thought, oh, that's what I want to do. I want to grow food, grow it in a sustainable manner, and help people learn how to grow food. So I transferred schools, got my degree in horticulture, and then, worked on farms, orchards in Indiana, Washington State, and then kept going back to my cousin's orchard in New York, and then went to graduate school, studied some plant physiology because I wanted to understand a little bit more how everything worked, and then after grinding leaves decided, you know what, I just want to get my fingers dirty and grow things again, and worked in a lab for 3 more years after that, and then worked on a farm on Sauvie Island, a vegetable farm, for 4 years on Sauvie Island, and that's where I got more involved with Small Farms program, and we had a farmer in training program, so I was teaching beginning farmers, and I was the crew leader, so just, showing them, okay, this is, how we weed, this is how we harvest all these different crops, and then I started working with the Small Farms program just about a year ago. I took the Growing Farms course in 2009, and then what I did this year, I haven't done much with the online course, just reading the stuff that David and Gary have sent out. But this year, so I've coordinated the class, the speakers, the guest speakers that are coming in, dealt with registration, and also the curriculum. We, moved things around a little bit, and then I taught one of the classes on season extension, and then also a class on pest management for orchards, so IPM in orchard systems, and then also just evaluations. And when people I was a person, when people had questions, I would answer those, or when are we meeting here, coordinating the food. And then we also had a field trip where we went to visit farms, and so then I coordinated that and also worked with the growers on, okay, these are the topics that our students are interested in, so just to make sure that we had some kind of focus when we're out on the field trip. I'm helping everyone else. About a month and a half ago, I moved onto a small farm, and I have a large garden there, but the farm where I'm living has cows, pigs, chickens, and 4 llamas. So I helped we had piglets that were born a week and a half ago, and I went out to see them, and they were giving them iron injections, so I got to mark them after, because there's 8 of them, so they needed to be marked on their back with chalk so you knew which one had received the shot already. And then there were a few that were like, Yarr! And I had to, freaking out, so I had to hold their snouts down to keep them calm. Anyway.
My name is Shayna Bronstein, and I work as a program assistant at SORIC. I help coordinate the Growing Farms program this winter, and I also run a beginner farmer program called Growing Agripreneurs, which is a farmer incubator program that's a season-long program, and we have a teaching plot that we teach students on. Studied plant and soil science and sustainable agriculture in school, and after that I went to work for a seed company in the research department, and eventually decided that I wanted to work with more small-scale farming and more sustainable agriculture. So I moved to Oregon and started working on farms, and now my boyfriend and I raise chickens and rabbits in Rogue River. I also grow some seed crops and some crops for the market, the farmer's market. Yeah, we rent 10 acres to raise the animals on right now, and we're thinking of expanding next year and adding sheep. And then I raise half an acre of seed crops. Well, I help coordinate the growing farms in Southern Oregon, and so that involved booking all the speakers, finding local professionals, the water master and property assessors to come and speak, and then helping coordinate the on-farm components. We had 2 farm days this year with 4 farmers, so working with them to work on what they were going to say and how the tours would go. And then also just interfacing with the students and helping them network and find resources and the tools they need to start farming in Southern Oregon. A lot of the beginning farmers are really passionate about working with the land and with the soil, and that's really wonderful. But the other component to farming is the marketing side of things and the business side of things. And I think that's where growing farms can really help people get a perspective on the other roles that farmers have to play besides digging in the dirt. So there's the whole selling component and marketing and branding of your farm.
My name's Gary Stevenson. I coordinate the Small Farms program at Oregon State University. And the Small Farms program is an extension service program that has extension faculty that are located in counties around the state that serve small farms in their regions. And so we have about 12 people that work with us in some capacity. Farming background, other than kind of living on a small acreage when I was growing up, was I worked on some of the research farms at Oregon State University for several years, but also did some farming on the outside. I ran a U-pick operation for a short time. We piloted something like growing farms in 2007. It was offered under a different name, and it was so popular that as a team we got together to create growing farms so we could do it in different areas of the state. And so I've worked with the group since then. There's been a lot of grant writing in order to help develop the curriculum, and an awful lot of meetings to come up with the actual content and those nice titles for each of the sections to it as well. So I've sort of coordinated an awful lot of the efforts and let's say the brain power of the group. The online version of it, it really is going to set a very high standard, I think, for beginning farmer online education. I don't know of anything else quite like this around the country.
My name is Amy Garrett. I live in Corvallis, Oregon, and my current job is a small farms instructor at Oregon State University, serving 3 different counties in the southern Willamette Valley. In that job, we work with commercial and non-commercial small acreage landowners, a lot of beginning farmers, people just getting started or considering starting farming, and fielding questions and referring them to resources that are going to help them make better decisions. My background is in horticulture. My grandparents had a farm in Indiana that I grew up on until maybe age 10, and then I did landscape design, installation, and maintenance for over 10 years there, and interned on an organic farm in early 2000s and got kind of re-inspired to pursue food production again. So, and then I moved to the West Coast to go to grad school, and then now I'm in Oregon, and now I don't want to leave. I got my undergraduate degree at Purdue University in horticultural science, and then I got my master's degree at OSU studying nitrogen management with cover crops in organic vegetable production systems. So growing farms, they were just starting that project when I got hired on a little over 2 years ago. And I started by helping Gary with the Sell It module. So I was really interested in marketing strategies, and so that's where I started. And then I've also been a part of kind of the planning and editing of many of the other modules as well.
So my name is Melissa Ferry, and I am a small farms instructor for OSU Extension Service. I serve 3 counties in Oregon in the Willamette Valley, and I work part-time. I job share with one of our other small farms instructors, and together we serve the small farms in the valley. Sorry, in the valley. We talk with farmers about growing crops and livestock production. We share with them new technology that's available and information that's been researched through the university, and make it into a applicable information for them so that they can then utilize it on the ground. And we work with not just commercial farmers, but also folks that just have a few acres that want to be able to manage their land better. I grew up in rural Oregon, and I have been interested in agriculture since I was in high school. I was part of the FFA group. We wore the corduroy blue jackets, and it was somewhat embarrassing, but I was encouraged to do that by my brother, and through that process I just really fell in love with soils. We did soil judging, and soils were a big mystery to me, so I got involved with that, and then went to OSU and studied soil science and ended up with an environmental soil science degree. And then have been working to promote Oregon agriculture for about the last 18 years and have just really enjoyed that. My husband and I now have a small farm down by Cresswell. It's not a commercial farm. We raise a few head of livestock and have a big garden and chickens and eggs with our 2 young children, and just enjoy living that lifestyle. I've been involved with the Growing Farms course since the very beginning, when we were able to get some grant funding to start the concept development and curriculum development. And that has progressed into creating an online version of the course. And I wrote the Dream It module, and then have been involved with the reviewing and writing of some of the other modules as well.